Now, when it comes to the dynamic descriptive, dynamic descriptive will help us in two ways normally. One is, if the object is being repeated multiple times and you still want to go with the descriptive programming, what you do, instead of defining the object properties and values in the same line, then what you do first, you describe the object properties and values in a variable. You call it as a description object. Then whatever the variable that you have initiated and stored the information, then wherever you want to use that information, then you can use it so that that information can be reused. You don't need to redefine the properties and values every time. Okay, and you can just store the properties and values only once and then you can use it. But there is another way, or there is one more use of dynamic descriptive. That's something that you need to learn now, and we'll go with some of the scenarios related to that. Okay, so you take a situation this way, or let me develop a small application, and we will learn the dynamic descriptive for that. Okay, so we'll develop small screens now, one by one. So might go a little slower. Okay, so I'm just developing a screen. The screen contains some set of checkboxes here. Okay, and what I want to do is I might need to select the checkboxes whatever have been populated by using the UI. Okay, sorry, by using the tool. Eh, I'll say checkboxes is the title that I'm giving. Okay, how do you define the checkbox? I say input type equal to checkbox, and you can give the name anything, and feature. Then you say something that I'm just giving some text here. So what you got here? Right, you got one checkbox. All the things have got same almost same kind of text. You got all the checkboxes, but in case if you want one by one, what you can do, you can have a line break. And one by one has come. Okay, so we'll go with each. So let me do one thing. Let me save this application. Save as, just say for automation. Yeah. Forget about the design, remaining design and all. We'll go with one by one. One of my scenario is now I want to retrieve, or I want to select all the checkboxes whatever have been populated in that script. Select all the checkboxes whatever have been populated on the script. Then how would you do that? Now, okay, so the normal approach, you say you are using a object repository, and if you are using object repository, then what you do? You have to add every checkbox, and then you say checkbox.set on. If how many checkboxes you have here? Seven checkboxes. So you add seven checkboxes to the repository, and then you have to select all the seven checkboxes in 7 lines that you need to write. If you are using inline descriptive, also what you need to do? Again, you need to write 7 lines. One checkbox, one line. Now, it's like you have written 7 lines. Just to say like go with any approach here, object repository and add it. Now you have written 7 lines. But later on, what happened is what happened? One of the checkbox has been removed. And how many lines you have written? 7 lines. Now one of the line you have to remove from your script also. This time only 6 checkboxes are there. Right? Only 6 features. Assume that each checkbox is nothing but a feature. Whatever are displayed, you need to select. Okay, now what you done? You did a small modification. Since only 6 are being displayed now, then you have removed, you commented one of the line in the script so that only 6 will be selected. But to comment that, first you need to understand what checkbox has been removed and what line I have written for that removed checkbox. You cannot comment any line out of 7. You need to comment the line which is related to the removed checkbox, right? So first checkbox, one line you have written, second one you have written. So you need to comment out the line for the checkbox, whatever that whatever the line you have written for the removed checkbox. So for analysis, it will take time. Then you need to comment. But now you commented out, so that script might work now. Later on, what happened? So 7. You say like this. Now what happened is, not saved, right? Save it. How many you have got now? 8. But how many lines you have got in the script now? 6 lines. Seventh one was commented. But now again, what happened in the next execution? The count has been changed. The collection has been changed. So you need to uncomment the line, and you need to write one more. So 8 lines. Now in the next execution, that is increased to 10. In another execution, that is increased to 15. Another execution, it has come down to 8. Right? So the count of the checkboxes, that collection is keep changing. Not the same collection coming every time. What should you do? Sorry? So what you need to do is, instead of going one by one, adding one object to one repository, if you do like this, depends on how many checkboxes there, there's many you need to define. Right? If 30 checkboxes are there, 30 objects you need to add. Or inline also, 30 checkboxes for 30 checkboxes you need to give the properties one by one, one by one. But when the count is changing, then the script will not work. You need to do the necessary changes in the script, because you are going with one by one, one by one. When you go with the repository, when you go with the one inline, you need to go with one by one. But what should I do? Instead of going with one by one and referring to one object at a time, then what I do is I'll change my way of coding a little bit now. So what is the change of what is the way that I need to go now is, instead of say, okay, select the so and so checkbox, I need to perform. I can perform the action only on one object at a time. But the way I perform will be different. So this time I need to. I will tell my script saying that, hey, don't uh, select one by one or take one. Do one thing. So get collection of all the checkboxes, whatever the checkboxes are there currently. Get the collection of all the checkboxes once and loop from first checkbox to last checkbox, and then you select in the loop one by one. First time you take first one, second time you take second one, like. So what I'm doing now, so I don't give particular checkbox. See what you do first. Okay, you have to get the collection of the checkboxes, and after getting the collection of the checkboxes, loop from first one to last one, take one by one, and then you select. If 20 checkboxes are there, you get all 20 checkboxes and then you loop. If 30 checkboxes are there, you get 30, all the 30 checkbox collection and then you loop it. If 5 are there, get only those 5 into the collection and then you loop it for 5 times and take one. Right? You don't need to add every object to the repository now. Right? Whatever are there, you get the collection ones. This will save a lot of lines of code for you as well, and easy also. But if you go line by line, every time you need to modify. But this time, then since runtime only it is getting the collection, when you are running the script, only 5 are there, 5 will be taken. When 10 are there, 10 will be taken. 20 are there, 20 will be taken. No change required for the script at all. Right? A lot of scenarios coming up related to this. But we'll go with one by one. Now, the question is, so in this process, what did we ask? What we need to ask the script? Get the collection of all the checkboxes. Nothing but get the collection of the objects, all objects. Now remember one thing, whenever you want to get any collection or whenever you want to get some objects into the list or into the collection, first you need to specify, you need to tell to the tool. See, remember when I say get the collection of all the checkboxes, but tool cannot understand what I told like this. Right. So for tool, there is a process that you need to follow. You must have to follow certain process. The way you guide the tool is different from the way that you speak. Right. So when you say get the collection of the objects, first you need to define, you need to provide the information about the objects that what you want to get. Right. Now take this room. Take the objects in the room. What objects we have? Lot of objects, different types of objects. As like in the application we have button, edit field or checkbox, links or all this. In this room also we have many. Right? You say like we have fans, you have chairs, and you have tables, you have laptops, you have the projectors. Right? You have pens, you have humans, you have bags, mobiles. Right? Everything is an object here. Right? In this room. So what I want to do is now I'll say get the collection of all the chairs. I need to tell to my script, or I need to tell to the tool saying that, hey, get the collection of all the chairs. I want to count how many are there. So do one thing. First you get the collection of all the chairs into one. Then based on that collection I can count. What should I do now? Now you can understand, as a human being you can understand what I told, but tool cannot understand what I told. So what I do, tool will understand the technical information than the oral information that what I do. So what is the technical information of the object, properties and values? Every object should be described by using properties and values. Right? In any, forget about UFT, in any tool that will be common thing. You go tomorrow, you go with any tool in the world, right? I mean, whatever the tool that comes to you, then any tool, whatever it is, understands only the technical information. Tools are too technical. So the information of the object should not be given orally. The information of the object should be given technically. So how we provide the technically by giving a so and so property and value. So when you say this, get the collection of the chairs, then what differentiate between other objects to the chairs? class, maybe class. Okay, so now you say, you ask the tool, say that get the collection of objects in this room, the objects which are having the class as chair. So do one thing, you go to every object, check the class of every object, whatever the object has got the class as chair, you take those objects into the collection, right? Okay, now it gets a collection of all the chairs, but within these chairs, you will be having gray color chairs, black color chairs, or brown color chairs like this you have. Now, what I want is, I want to get only gray colored chairs into the collection. I don't want black colored, or I don't want the brown colored. Then what I should say? Classes remain chairs. But within those chairs, I don't want all. What you need to say? Class as chair, color is gray. So you take these two properties and get the collection of all the objects which are matching with these two properties. That means first you need to describe the information, and then based on that information you ask to get the collection. Right. And again, you say that in the grade color, you might be having two different brands. One is Neil Kamal, second one is some other brand. Now I want to get the chairs which are having the brand as Neil Kamal, only grey color chairs and Neil Kamal brand. I don't want other brands. Then what you do? You need to describe three properties now: class, color, and brand. Right? So see, the properties what you are providing here, you are not giving any property what you want, but you have to give the property and value according to the type of the objects that what you want to fit, according to the type of the objects that what you need to, right? Always, not only in the EFT, in other tools also same thing. So always whenever you are working with any of the tool, right, the conceptually, logically we have learned many things, but this is when automation occurred. Apart from this logic, the objects also, because the automation testing is nothing but taking the objects and then performing the actions on the object. Taking the objects in a sense, not you take, tool should take it, but tool cannot take automatically because it's not the natural intelligence, and a tool is an artificial intelligence, and then it understands what you say to the tool. But whatever you say to the tool, not orally you should say, that you should say technically anything. So if you want to describe an object there, but when we are a human being, you describe a person orally, you describe an object orally. So object looks like this, all this. But when you are describing to the tool, then you need to describe that object technically. Technically is nothing but properties and values. Depends on what you want, then you have to tell to the tool. Now say another example here. Take. You have fans. I want to get the collection of all the fans here. Just listen. Then what is the class here? Class is fan. Right? Okay. Now I don't. Then what it does? It executes in this room. Say what are the objects are having. That class. Then four objects are having here. We got five objects total. So total five objects. So all five objects will be coming into the collection. But now I don't want. There are in the fan itself two categories here: table fan and ceiling fan. Now I don't want all the fans. I want only the ceiling fans. Then what I do? Class is fan, category ceiling fan. So out of five, then it will get only three now. Three ceiling fans are there. But I don't want all again. I want only the black color fan or brown color fan. Then what you do? Again, you filter with color. So three properties. If you want, you can give more still. Now assume that there are three gray color fan out of the different brands are there. Again, if further you can filter with the brand by using fourth property. Right? So like this, what you do, you describe the properties and values according to what you need, what type of objects that you want to get. That's something that you should understand. But now, okay, so since we see those objects and all physically, then you can understand those information. You can know those information like color or the name of the brand or all those things. But When you look at these objects doesn't have the brand, doesn't have the color, right? So by looking at that, how do you understand the information of that object? Right? It will be difficult because internally the technical information is nothing but properties. But the properties meant not all the properties will be visible to you. The properties of those objects are given internally in the source code. Until unless you explore that object, then you will not be able to give the properties and values. Then how would you do that? Explore. Two ways that you can do normally. If you are using a web application, open the application in Chrome or Internet Explorer and all, you have something called inspect element, inspect element, and it will display the source code below. I'll come back to that again. But the second option to explore the object is you have something called object spy in the tool. What is object spy? Object spy will tell us the properties and values that an object is having. So do one thing. If you want to get the collection of the objects, you just spy on some of the objects there. Understand what are the properties which are having common between them. So use those common properties and ask the tool to get the collection based on those properties. But as of now, what is common across all without exploring those objects, what I can say is which are common. Class is common. Class is common for those checkboxes. But so I don't want a specific checkboxes here, right? I want only all the checkboxes. So the class will help us. And if it is link, class will be variant. You call it as mid class, Mercury interactive class it is. And when it is button, class will be button, web button. When it is edit field, then class will be web edit. The class will be web edit. So if you want to get the collection of all the checkboxes, you can directly say class as web edit, right? So to get that, first what I have to do, I need to store this information first. How would you store the information? Set ob is equal to, you have two syntaxes to provide the property and value. One is you say obj.add property name and value, or you say object of property name dot value. Both are same. You say web checkbox. Or other way of providing the property value is you say obj.add with class. Both are same. So there are two ways to add the property to the description object. You say object of property name dot value, or object dot add property name and value. Okay, you can do it in two ways. Okay. Now I've given the information, I stored the information. Next, what I have to do? I need to get the collection of the objects. But how do I get? From where I need to? The second question is from where I need to get the collection. I should get the page. I should get from this page. So what you can do is now page, you can you can write in the descriptive page, browser and page, but this is actually window and page, not the browser. I have not opened this in the browser. So this is a HTI is another window. Inside window, it's a page object. So what I'm doing is for now, I'm just using a object repository to store the page object. So what I got here? Yeah. So what is hierarchy? Window. So from where you need to get the collection of the objects, that also you need to understand. Not all the time page, right? Not all the time page. Now take another simple example here. You consider the whole flat. This whole flat is one page that you say. The whole flat is one page. Now you have described like this properties: class as fan, class as fan, and asked to retrieve the collection of those objects based on the information what you have provided. What is the information you have provided? Class as fan. From where you asked, I mean, from where you want to get, you said that get that page dot so and so method that you use, which I will tell next, and get the collection of the objects based on the information what I've given to you. So as I said, the whole flat is a page, the whole thing. Now when you say this page dot, the method name is child objects here, and get the collection. What it will do? It will consider this whole hall as well as those rooms also part of this page, right? It will get the collection from those rooms also, because those rooms also part of this, right? So it will get the collection of all here. But what is now, I don't want to get all. That room also contains some fans, this room also contains some fans, this room also contains some fans. So all the collection that it will take. But what do I want now? I don't want it from all flat, I want only from this hall. As like the flat has been again split into, has got split into rooms. Sometimes the pages also might split into the frames, tables and all. Okay, so now if you don't want from all the rooms, entire flat, you say I want only from office room, you say. Now this flat dot office room dot get that objects collection. So this time what it will do, it will consider only that room, right? So I mean, what I mean to say here, first, apart from what type of objects that you want to get, you need to understand another thing is from where you need to get those collection. You want to get the collection from whole page, or you want to get the collection from particular frame, like that, right? So that we'll have to see some examples further when you go with frames, or when you go with whole page. But in this case, this page whatever I've got here, this page is not split into frames and all. It's just a single page that we have got, so that we need to get the collection from whole page here. So collection nothing but the checkboxes I want, then I've given only one property. What is that? Make class as web checkbox. But how do I get the collection? What method that I use to get the collection? Then the method is, you say window dot page, window dot page dot, the method name is child objects. Method name is child objects. What this method does, child objects. Child objects is used to retrieve the collection of the objects from the parent. But what objects it will get? When I say child objects, what properties it will get? What objects? Sorry. But how would I get? How child objects will understand the information you have given in the OBJ? OBJ you have described separately. Child objects you are writing separately. Now, how child objects will understand that you need to get the objects which are matching with OBJ? You have to relate it, right? You have to relate the child objects with OBJ. How do you do that? You provide that OBJ as input. Otherwise, it cannot understand. So now we have to say child objects of OBJ. What does it mean? Hey, okay, get the information from the OBJ. Whatever the objects matching with the information stored in the OBJ, get those objects. From where it has to get, since child objects is used for page, get the objects from the page. Getting what I'm saying here? So what you have to do here, first you store the object information in a description object, then that description object should be given as an input for child objects method. Okay, so now what child objects does here, first it will go take this OBJ, then immediately it will retrieve the information what you have stored in the OBJ. That information will be taken by child objects. Okay, so whatever the information you have given to the OBJ takes that and try to match the objects in the application with that information, that whatever you have provided. Whatever the objects are matching with that information, then since that is those returns the objects, collection of objects. If no objects are matching, what it will return? Collection only, it will return with zero objects. If one object is matching, it will still return the collection with one object. If multiple objects are returning, still it will return as a collection with multiple objects. Why I am using set there? Because I'm assigning the collection of the objects. I'm storing the object collection, not the value collection, so you have to use set. So you say set all objects equal to window dot page dot child objects of, right? Next, I want to know how many are there. How many are there? So I have got that collection, right? You say collection dot count. Okay, collection dot count. Collection dot count will tell you how many are there. So total it says that 8. But if you want to understand, because there could be object are not here, objects are in one by one place, but sometimes objects will be placed in different places. You need to know these objects. You can highlight those objects. Highlight in a sense, just blink. To blink that, what you have to do, one by one object that you need to access. To access one by one object, what you have to do, you need to loop. And in the collection, every object will be referred with an index. In the collection, every object will be referred with index, and index will be starting from 0, right? That we know. Every index will be referred with 0. Sorry, will be starting with 0, right? In every collection. Sorry, not every index. In every collection, index will be starting with 0. So when it is starting with 0, now 8 objects are there. Then from where to where you need to execute? 0 to 7, right? So then you select this. Int total objects equal to, for I equal to 0 to int total objects minus 1. Int total objects minus 1. Then have to access one by one, right? All objects of I. All objects of I means, yeah, 0. All objects of 0, first object. All objects of 1, second object. All objects of 2, third one in that collection. It's a dot highlight. Dot highlight means it will highlight the object. Now let me run it. You can see every checkbox is being highlighted there. That's a highlight. Okay, now in this also there are two checkboxes are there. One starts with FT, another starts with RT. Now we say RT is a mandatory one, FT is an optional one. I don't want to display, I don't want to get optional ones. I want to get only mandatory ones. Altogether we have 8, but I want to get only mandatory ones. What should I do? When you say checkbox, all are checkboxes only. So it's matching with all 8. Next is, you need to consider other property. You need to describe what makes the difference between optional and mandatory. Also, the what is common between all mandatory, right? You need to understand. So that's where that you need to use object spy. Tools, object spy. Now you look at this. Look at the name. What is the name? Feature. Feature name. Having common name. This is O feature. So this also has got O feature. That's a M feature. So which means that all mandatory properties are having name as M feature. All optionals are having O feature. So what I do now, you ask this tool, get collection of all the checkboxes which are having the name as M feature. Then you say which property? Name dot value equal to, look at those now. What are highlighting? Right? What's happening there? Only mandatory are highlighting, because with this it will use the combination of these two. Now when it says checkbox, all the checkboxes within those checkboxes again, not all the checkboxes which are having the name as M feature. You need to understand that. So I'm filtering the objects with the name. Why I'm using only name? Because that's a criteria that has been defined there to differentiate the objects. Because the name property is helping me to differentiate between these objects with this mandatory and optional. Now if I say here instead of M, if I give O, then it will give optionals. Right? Now I go with mandatory, but within those mandatory again you say some of them have been selected already, some of them are not selected. Within mandatory also some of them have been selected, but what I want is I want to get the collection of all the mandatory features which are not selected. Understand the requirement. Three things I told here: collection of the checkboxes, mandatory ones, and selected ones, unselected ones. So now we are able to differentiate between mandatory and assist. We are able to differentiate between other objects to checkboxes. Within the checkboxes, mandatory to optional, we have differentiated. But within those mandatory again, how can you differentiate between checked and selected ones and unselected ones? Then we have other property. What is that? Checked property. Set means to perform action, but to validate it, then we have need to use some property. Now you look at checked. What is checked property value? I'm talking about what is the property value? I'm talking about checked property. 0. I spied an unchecked one, right? Look at the one in the index. No, this one checked property. Two different checked. So checked, that means selected checkbox is having value as 1, checked property. So what property is differentiating between selected and unselected checkboxes? Checked property. If the checkbox is selected, checked will be having 1. If checkbox is unselected, then 0. So what I do, I'll still filter further. What I say, okay, mandatory only, then I'll say like this, checked dot value equal to 0. Now you run it. You can see within those mandatory only unselected ones are highlighted. If I give 1, right? So that's what the analysis that you must have to do. Right? You just can't go with any property blindly. So you need to understand. First, you should be very clear on the requirement. Requirement itself tell you the filter criteria. Right? First, you need to analyze. I know you need to spend time and you need to thoroughly analyze what has been asked to you. Then what you need to do. right? So the requirement what has been asked, select the mandatory properties or retrieve the or highlight all the mandatory properties which are not selected. That's what has been asked. So those the mandatory features you say, then those features are displayed in the form of checkboxes. So that first I'm filtering the checkboxes. Within those again we have got different types of checkboxes. If I want to filter mandatory, I'm using name. But within those mandatory, they have asked to highlight only non-selected ones. So that I'm using checked as 0. Then selected ones means checked as 1. I'm using checked as 0. Right? So how it is gonna work? Like this. If this is an object, consider only the first property here. When it has taken first property, it takes all the objects. So total 8 will be coming. Then what it does? It takes the second one. I mean, it uses the combination, all three combination. Now I filter. Out of this, what are having name as M feature? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it will filter 5. Then out of those 5, again I have used other property. Out of these 5, how many are selected? 1, 2. But I have said checked as 0 means unselected one. How many? 1, 2, 3. So these 3. Now when you highlight this, this will be highlighted, this will be, and this will be, because those 3 have come into the collection. Right? This is also dynamic. Whenever you want to retrieve the collection of the objects, then you can see. Okay. And we'll see with other examples as well, one by one that we'll see. Next. Now this is for the checkboxes. But now I'll go with the other way. Same UI itself. Let me have some links this time. Let me have some links. Then each link will have some name there, some text. Okay. So how do you define the links this time? Yeah. Right? Links will have the tag as A. Every link will have something called href. Maybe I'm just giving a uh, regular URL, google.com or anything. So href doesn't matter as of now. Underscore blank. I'll say Google. I'll define one link. I'll say Facebook. I'll define another link. I'll say Gmail. Then I'll say Twitter. Then I'll say Outlook. You can say Outlook.com. Then you say live.com. You have plenty of the links. Okay, just you say that. And then click info. Then you say this. You'll say click push. Then it is I'll say something, just some website that I've given here. Now you got many links here, right? You got many links here. So what I want to do is here, I want to get, first I want to know how many links are there in this page. I want to know how many links are there. And you need to get name of one by one link, but I'm not getting the name as of now because we need to use other method, but I'll come to that method again. So what should you do now? To get the collection of the checkboxes, what did you do? You used a class as web checkbox. Similarly, if you want to get the collection of the links, then you can say class as link. Not web link, it will be link. For other objects like button, it will be web button, web edit, like that it will be. But for link, it will be just link. Okay, not web link, only link. So what you have to do to get the collection of the links, then you say link. But it links will not have checked, unchecked like that. Now I said obj.make class of same window dot child objects. This time what it should do, it has to get the collection of the objects which are matching with the class as links. See whether it is doing or not. Getting only links. Why getting only links? Because that's how I defined the property. Property I have given as make class link. Okay, now I don't want all the links. There are plenty of the links, but I want the links which are starting with only C. I want to get the links which are starting with the text. For the links, the text which is starting with C. Remaining is anything, no problem. What should I do? Name. Let's see. Yeah, let's see how you can say here. You got link. You got the name or you got the text. So normally we can use text. Text is nothing but the one whatever is displayed on top of it. Google is a text, Facebook is a text, like that. So you can use text. I said starting with C, right? So it should be C. Remaining is anything. How could you say that anything? Regular expression. C dot stop. So what you do now? Obj of text dot value equal to, you don't need to specify that I'm using regular expression. It will be as soon as it finds a wild character, nothing but a special character like that, then the descriptive programming will automatically consider it as a regular expression. Now see. Right? Okay. So what are you doing here? So you are based on the properties and values. Please do not use mobiles. Okay. Right. So make class as link to filter the links and text as C dot star. That means starting with C, remaining is anything. So based on see now I'm not using the same properties. What properties I've used for the checkbox? I'm not using the same. I'm changing the properties here. Earlier I used it checked or other things, but here I'm using text because object to object. I mean not object to object, class of object, class to class. Some properties will be varying. You can't use same properties for every class. Okay, but that needs a bit of experience to understand for which class which properties can be taken. Once you start exploring, when you start doing the things on different types of objects, then you automatically can explore it. That's not a big thing here. Okay, next, go with any other one. Go with any other thing. So take another example this time. Instead of taking the inbuilt, let me go with any other object here, any other application now. So let's take this. I'll take maybe Flipkart itself. Just we have seen that earlier. Now you've got plenty of the objects in this. Lot of links. When you say links, hundreds of links are there. Right? Plenty of the objects. But what I want from this now is I just want how many images are there in this? How many images? This is an image. This is an image. This is an image. Right? And you can see the alt property is changing. You can see each one is a image object. So what I want is I want to see how many images are there in this particular screen. So what should I do? First you need to get that page. So I will add that page to the repository. Understand only the script. Now you can say make class as image, right? Make class as image. Then now within the same thing here, right, I don't want all the images. There are different things are there. Let's differentiate. I want the images which are having the text as or alt as women's something. Then what you do? You can see something called alt is there, right? Class as image and then alt is women's dot star. Maybe women's bags or all other things also will be there. So what you need to do, so now see when it comes to the image, you can use, I mean, we have different properties here. You say file name, you have alt, different properties. So different, based on the class of the object, then the properties of the objects will be varying. Right? Varying. That's what something that you should know. Okay. Now, this is the cart. What I do is, I'll go with the mobiles. Maybe I'll go with MI. I'll go with Redmi. Or if this is not available. Still on. You all these are coming soon, huh? How can I say only available? Do you have filters? Okay, I'll say add to cart. Now how many are there? One is there. I'll take any brand now. I'll say add to cart. Okay, now if you consider this page, I want to know how many products are there in the cart, right? But you can say two, but not you. That you who should say? Who should say that? Script tool should say that. But how tool can say that how many are there in this? You have actually two options. One is you say price two items, but other option is see is there any object that you can find here. It has got the image, but in this page there are a lot of images apart from this. See that image has got any other class or any other property? No other properties. You can take any requirement here. Look at the class 18x hxu4 18hxu4. There are some elements which are having only with that particular class. So one product will have one price. You can see number of price tags displayed, nothing but number of items added, right? So what I do now here, what is the class of it? Class is web element, right? I'll just add this page. I've not added this page to the repository. I just changed the logical name, that's it. Right. Now what I say is set o obj equal to descriptive. See, you don't need to use only obj. That can be any variable name. I say obj element, something like that. But just for time being, I'm using obj here. Obj element dot add make class as web element. But as I told last time, every text will be displayed in a web element only. You have to create. So web element means every static text, whatever has been populated. This is web element. 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 All the static text would be web elements only. So there will be plenty. But you need to identify only this price elements. So what you do now? What makes difference between other elements to this element? There could be two things. One is what is the tag they have used? Div span, and that's also div. So the div matching with multiple, so that no need to. Then you say obj element dot add is a class as I8 hxa4. Set obj collection equal to browser dot page dot child objects of obj element message box obj collection dot count. Now there are two elements. Okay, so web elements means there could be plenty, but only two web elements are there with that particular class. Why did I go with only class? Why not other properties? Because the class is differentiating between other elements to this element. So two price tags, nothing but two products in the card, right? Is there any other place in this page the price tag is displayed? Well, but this will be having a different properties. I'm taking the price tags having which are having only this. But if you go with this, what is a class? Nothing. Right? So at the end, no matter what property that you use, it should differentiate. Right. So how do you get the collection of the objects? Based on that, first you create a description object and you define the properties and values according to the objects that what you want to get. Then based on the properties and values that what you get, then it will retrieve the objects. By using child objects method, you can get the collection. Okay. So this is how normally you work with you get the collection of the objects. Fine. So I'll stop now. Okay, so I'll stop here.